Here we go, doing problem 2 on assignment 152, the chapter 1 review. And on this one, we're dealing with a little bit of dilations and transformations of different sorts. So we're going to do a horizontal shrink by a factor of 1/6 of this function up here. Horizontal factor of shrink means we're going to do this. We're going to do f of 6x because that's what's going on with horizontal shrinks. So f of 6x, because that's what this is telling us to do, means that we're going to just put in a 6x instead of an x. So that would be a fine way of writing the final answer for that, and that's good to go. B is a vertical stretch by a factor of 4. So what that's asking is for us to put the 4 out in front of f of x. So 4 times that thing would be 4 times the original problem, x plus 5 quantity squared minus 6. It would be nice to get rid of some of those parentheses, so I'm going to write 4 times 3 is 12. X plus 5 quantity squared doesn't change, but 4 times negative 6 makes 24. So our new function is 12 times x plus 5 quantity squared minus 24. Reflection over the x-axis, and the x-axis change would be vertical, right? Because the x-axis is like this, so if we're going up and down from here, that means we're going to change the vertical stuff, and that means we're going to do the opposite of f of x. So just like a vertical dilation, we're going to have a negative or a negative 1 out in front of a parenthesis. We're going to have, x plus 5 quantity squared minus 6 inside. If we simplify that a little bit, it would be negative 3 times x plus 5 squared plus 6, because that negative 6 where it got shifted down to is now flipped over the x-axis. Let's see what's next. There's more of these, so I'm going to continue with the same function. I'll write it up here so we don't have to look back at the other page. Here we go. That's the original function. So we're going to reflect over the y-axis now. So just like the x-axis, we were reflecting this way vertically. We reflect on the y-axis, we're going to go horizontally. So it affects the y value. In other words, it's f of the opposite of x. So the only thing I'm going to change now is instead of writing x, I'm going to write minus x. And that's a final answer. Can't distribute because I've got a square first, so there's nothing else to do. Shift to the right 4. This problem is already to the left 5. That's where that is. If you were saying this problem, you'd say, oh, it's left 5. So the left 5 is over here at negative 5. If we shift to the right 4 of that, we would end up over here at negative 1. In other words, negative 5 plus 4, because we're trying to get it to the right of there. All right, so that means we're going to have our new function. I don't know what the new function is called, g of x or whatever it is. I guess if I continue along the same vein, what I should say is x minus 4, right? So you could do it this way instead, if this made more sense. You could replace x with x minus 4 and do x minus 4 plus 5. Maybe I'll do it that way. Oh, you could do it either way. I don't really care. It'll work out the same way either way. If you write it that way, of course, it's x plus 1 quantity squared, which is where that negative 1 is anyway. So we could do it that way, and that's fine. Shift up to the left 7. Well, if I do it like this other one, we know that left means plus 7. So if I just wanted to do it in this manner, maybe I would just put x plus 7 in for x and say, instead of x, I'm going to write x plus 7 plus 5. Because the only thing I did was replace the x. This is my new x value. And that would be the same as 3 times x plus 12 quantity squared minus 6. Because if you think about this one, if we're at negative 5 and we go to the 7 units to the left, we're going to be at negative 12. That's why it's x plus 12. So there you go. All right, and then the last one is up 9. If we're going to do this symbolically, it would be f of x plus 9. And that just adds 9 to the end of the thing. So 3 times quantity of x plus 5 quantity squared minus 6 plus 9 puts us at positive 3. In other words, if we're down here at negative 6 and We go up 9 spaces, we end up at positive 3, or wherever, yeah, that's where they end.